Hello, we're here again for another two cards from the Faeries Oracle. Card 56, Gloominous Doom, Self-Defeat, Self-Pity, Self-Destruction, Taking Care of Ourselves. Self-pity is the first step on the slippery, seductive slide toward self-destruction. Much of what I've said about the Soul Shrinker, what Jessica said about the Soul Shrinker, applies to Gloominous Doom. So please read about the Soul Shrinker first, which I'll link down below. It may seem odd to have such a seemingly lightweight challenger as Gloominous Doom right next to the Soul Shrinker, but they are the closest of cousins. The Soul Shrinker observes the way we curse others through energy and attitude. Gloominous Doom observes the way we curse ourselves. In a way, thought, which is the part of ourselves that he witnesses, is worse than what the Soul Shrinker sees. When we curse others through sending the energy of malice and ill will toward them, they may reject our sendings. However, when we curse ourselves through self-pity and self-destructive attitudes, there is little, if any, resistance. And the curse takes immediate effect and continues to act until we change our attitudes. It's interesting, isn't it, how we can see at once that the Soul Shrinker is ugly, but Gloominous Doom has a certain charm, a kind of weird attractiveness. We feel sorry for him. He looks so pitiful. And there is another side to him that one Oracle group participant sees. She feels that Gloominous Doom is underrated as a helper. He can be there for you when no one else wants to know. The state of self-pity, when all seems terrible and the whole world is against you, is an important part of the process. We all get down sometimes. You could say that we even need it to compare with when we feel good. Gloominous Doom is ready and willing to help us explore just how awful it all feels, just how bad it is, and how hard done by we feel, and what has made us feel like that in the first place. It is very important to really get to know these feelings, or how can you possibly let them go if you don't properly know them in the first place? Our feelings need to be fully acknowledged and understood, or we just tuck them away and hide them from sight until they appear again, maybe in a different guise. Gloominous Doom helps us properly explore our gloomy feelings of doom so that we can be done with them. It is a very important job. The ultimate test here, of course, is to take responsibility for ourselves and our attitudes and to choose a path that is life-affirming, not life-denying. The sorrier we feel for ourselves, the worse our life becomes. And I repeat, because Jessica says to read the sentence again, so I repeat. The sorrier we feel for ourselves, the worse our life becomes. It is not the other way around. Self-pity makes things worse, and we have a choice, one we have every moment, as to whether we want to make our lives better or worse. And only we can choose that for ourselves. Starter reading. It is time to face the fact that our attitudes and beliefs about ourselves are our own. We may have learned them from others, but the others are not responsible for them in the here and now. We are. If we choose self-pity and pessimism, we make a choice that makes our lives worse. When this card appears in a reading, it indicates that this is a time when understanding that concept is especially important, a time when there is some sort of a crunch in the situation that offers someone the opportunity to notice and change such self-destructive habits. If it's yourself, you know what you need to do. If it's someone else, You may choose to consider how you might support them in this opportunity for change. Can you make sure to give positive feedback at every appropriate opportunity? Can you refrain from nagging, scolding, or complaining at them when they get it wrong? These things help. In the reverse, someone is sunk in self-pity, and this is having a deleterious effect on that person and on that situation. Jessica hates to say it, but there is very little anyone but that person can do to change the attitude. It is important to remember that trying to push someone else into a different attitude usually only encourages them to resist us, making matters worse. Take this into account in making your own plans and decisions, and get on with doing the best you can with your life. It is up to the other person to sort out her own attitudes. An oracle reader from their online group shows a way that we can deal with excessive self-pity in ourselves by meeting our own needs and desires for comfort. She says that she organizes a pity party for herself every time she feels down, giving herself permission to enjoy that feeling to the maximum degree. And she wallows in it and buys all the junk food and rents the worst movies. And in our day and age, this would be, a marathon of Netflix and possibly K-drama with her blankie, and she's set, and pretty soon she can't remember why she was down, and she had a great time while it lasted. I too highly recommend this. Card number 13. Card 13, Solus. Knowledge, consciousness, synthesis, spiritual empowerment. Solus stands midway between the realm of the singers and that of manifest reality. The realms of fairy, this world, and other realms and dimensions. The singers dwell in a cosmos without boundaries or differentiations, but we and the fairies live in worlds where there are limitations to overcome and boundaries to identify and expand, which helps us to grow. When we don't know what we need or who to turn to, Solus will help us if we ask. Solus once said to an Oracle group member, "Allow the surface noise to fade. I'm here waiting." Solus encourages us to stand on our own feet, to recognize and utilize our own wisdom, to depend on our own strength, and to acknowledge and work with our own good qualities, using them as stepping stones to improve the less good. Yet at the same time, Solus recognizes that we cannot do everything alone, and helps us to make the connections and to have the insights that will help us to accept wisdom, energy, and assistance from other realms, especially the realms of the singers and of fairy. With faith in the human spirit, Solus sees us as arrows fired from a bow, choosing our own directions and soaring into undreamt of heights, empowered by trust and the creative life force. Starter reading. Solus is radiant, energizing, vitalizing. This presence in a reading often indicates that something new is being brought into being in our lives, partly through our own efforts, and partly through the help we are receiving from other realms. Miracles may take place. Movement into the light is occurring. This is a time for taking action, passing on our blessings and learning, and for service given from a position of strength. When this card is reversed, is when the light and spiritual empowerment of Solus is veiled. We need to remember that this singer is there to help with seemingly lost causes and forlorn hopes. When you don't even know what to ask for his help and guidance, and then do the best you can for yourself. And that's our reading for today. Thank you for joining.